is Jamie Stewart, the Marketing Manager for MVP Network Consulting, and we would like to welcome everybody to our webinar today on backup internet. So today we are going to be covering a simple and inexpensive solution for business continuity when your internet goes down. So just a couple of things. We are recording this webinar, and we will be sending out the recording afterwards, as well as posting this on our MVP University site. So if you haven't had a chance to visit that yet, it is www.mvpworks.com/university. And you can check out this webinar as well as all of our past webinars. We'd just like to remind everybody if you could go ahead and mute your phones on your end if you're logged in through the phone, just so that we don't have any kind of background noise. I know offices can get busy around lunchtime.
Close that door.
And this is going to be about a 30-minute webinar presentation on backup internet. So if we go to our next slide.
It's ready.
Hey everybody, how are you? This is Kevin Kirby, and I just wanted to say thank you for joining us for that webinar. Sorry it took a couple more minutes to get going than we wanted to, and I think that there was someone on the line that maybe was having a bad day. Sorry that if anybody else had to hear that. That definitely did not come on our side, but we do open this up because we like to have a conversation as well. So if anybody has questions, that they can answer them at any time that they would like. But if we do, we would mute everybody for the future if we have to hear, any of that language. But once again, let's talk about the backup internet and the solution that we have for you. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to cover internet failure and how it affects your small business, solutions to avoid costly downtime, and finally, how to get started with backup internet services. If you're at work and all of a sudden your internet goes down, how valuable is it to you to get back up and get running as soon as possible? Are all of your applications hosted on your server, or do you use the cloud for a lot of your applications and to run your business? So if you do have more cloud dependency, then obviously it's a lot more important for you to have these types of failover internet options. Also, if you have voice over IP phone systems. And voice over IP means that you're actually using the internet to make your phone calls rather than your old analog type lines, copper lines that would come into your network. We're actually utilizing the bandwidth that you already need for your business to use for your phones. Who am I? I'm Kevin Kirby. There's some credentials from me from MVP. I've been here for quite a while. And what we've done is we started this webinar series probably about 8 months to a year ago. And what we like to do with this webinar series is offer our clients and anyone else the opportunity to get some information from us, for us to share some of what we have. It's a very non-salesy type of webinar. Okay, in this particular case, we do have a solution that can give you instant failover for your internet processes, and it is extremely inexpensive for you as well. So let's go in and let's talk about internet service providers. What is an ISP? A lot of acronyms in this business, and there's quite a few of them. Well, actually, there's not quite a few of them. There's only a few of them. Time Warner, Verizon, Comcast, which is not even in Western New York, and then we also have Windstream. There are a few more, but there are not a lot of them. Okay, does anybody here actually like having to speak to Time Warner or Verizon or have to call them about their internet? Either order it or for trouble tickets? No, not at all. It's one of the worst experiences that we have heard of for small businesses, is dealing with these providers. They're a necessary evil, and what it is really is there's only a few of them in the industry. When you have 2 or 3 people, or when you have 2 or 3 providers offering a service, and you can't go anywhere else, it's not necessarily a monopoly, but it's pretty close to a monopoly. It's what you call an oligopoly, where there's only a few players in the industry. And, they get into a big room where they all sit together, and a lot of times they fix price and they say, hey, we're never going to go higher than this rate. You guys do the same thing. It's a necessary evil in our business. So let's talk about small business internet options. What options do you have as a small business to purchase internet? And there's a few of them. One of the older ones is a DSL through Verizon. And then we have a Time Warner cable broadband, which is what most of our clients have currently. And for the most part, that is sufficient for your internet needs. And then the third and the best option is a direct fiber link to your building. Some of the differences in the three of them is DSL with Verizon is an analog. It's an analog system. It's very archaic, if you will, and it's also very slow. You're talking about maybe 10 to 15 megabytes per second on a download with only maybe a maximum of 1 meg up. Whereas the Time Warner cable, you're talking more about a 50 by 5 connection, 50 megs down and 5 megs up. But the problem with like a Time Warner broadband connection could be some of the problems that you can run into are latency issues. Latency issues are where on your network there might be your Time Warner hookup, and because what we have is information that is traveling over packets of data, if Time Warner does not have the newest equipment, or if things are set up wrong, you can have more latency. And latency is more of a slowdown in your network. So your websites will pop up much slower, and that might not be as noticeable, but if you have voice over IP phones that are utilizing your internet, then that can, be a loss of a phone call, or people can't understand you, they can't hear you. So that's where some of those latency problems come in with a Time Warner broadband. You're not dedicated to the internet that they're providing for you. It's not guaranteed. It's a best available service. So basically, if you're in a very condensed area, you get slower speeds as more people are sharing that connection. So for example, if you're at work and school gets out and you're in an area where there's a residential and a lot of kids get out of school and they go home and they do their online gaming and they're using a lot of internet, that's going to affect your bandwidth at the office, all right, because you're going to be slower. And then finally, we have direct fiber. So direct fiber is extraordinarily reliable, and with download and upload speeds that can be anywhere from 10 megs to 10 gigs of data. So it's extremely fast, it's all dedicated, and most importantly, it comes with an SLA or a service level agreement. So what they're going to say is, if their internet goes down, then that's guaranteed. They have somebody there to get you back up. If they're not there in a certain amount of time, you can actually get money back, and they'll actually, that's a breach of their contract if they go down. It's also very hard to take down a fiber network. The line has to be cut. They're either, a lot of times they're underground or they travel over the pole, but they're very, very reliable, very dependable. DSL obviously is extremely inexpensive, whereas Time Warner cable, their wideband, you're looking at anywhere from maybe $200 a month for the pricing on that internet. And fiber starts from maybe a 10 meg circuit. You're talking about maybe anywhere starting at $350 to $400 a month. So obviously it's a little more expensive, but you're guaranteed that speed with the fiber. So what are some reasons that the internet goes down? Storms can disrupt wiring to your internet service provider. So the wiring goes down because of a storm, because of something may happen to disrupt the actual circuits that are going back to the internet service provider. Congestion on your network. Congestion is when, like we just talked about, when there's multiple people trying to access at the same time. When you have that, you might have 10 seconds of uptime followed by 30 seconds of chaos. So that's why we recommend a lot of times trying to get a direct fiber link if at all possible. Another reason the internet goes down is switches or your routers or your equipment fails. So that's where you want to talk to your service provider to help make sure that you have updated equipment. But a lot of times you as the end user, you don't know exactly what's going on. The backbone outage with the internet service provider itself. For example, Time Warner throughout Western New York has hundreds, not thousands, of they're called nodes, N-O-D-E, all over Western New York. And those nodes are all ages. They've had different types, they've been weathered. They have experienced different types, of technology that were used to build these nodes. If one of those nodes goes down in someone's area, well, that means that that whole area is going to be down and they're not going to have internet service for however long. And the problem is that, if you go down, and your internet goes down because of a Time Warner failure, you have to call Time Warner. You have to call your IT company because you don't necessarily know. Well, is it on your end? Is it on their end? And there's a lot of time that's wasted in between before you even know what the real problem is. And sometimes Time Warner doesn't even know what the problem is. So in the meantime, you're still trying to figure out what the heck is going on, but you're not working. You don't have internet. And as far as, people's homes, okay, well, maybe they can't play a game or, go shopping. But as far as small businesses, that could be detrimental to a small business. So one question that keeps coming up for us was, how do we get a reliable backup internet solution that we don't necessarily have to pay for a whole other internet solution? I don't want to have to pay for Time Warner twice, or I don't want to have to pay for a fiber line and then also pay for, a Verizon Fios line just as a backup. So that's where we went and investigated a lot of different solutions to try to provide our clients and our partners with the best possible technology at the best prices and the best value to offer them. So that's what we did. Operator error, you can take a look at that as well. That's as far as configuration on your network. Duplicate IP addresses, plugging wires into the wrong jacks, setting up bad firewall rules. Those are among some of the leaders as far as operator errors and why internet goes down in the offices. So I kind of mentioned it, but MVP strategy is to deliver a secure, affordable, and easy-to-use, highly reliable, high-performance connectivity for our partners. And when we say connectivity, we're talking about internet connectivity. We're talking about failover connectivity. If you have a Time Warner 50 by 5 connection and you are paying for that every month, let's say you have that, you have a couple analog lines, you may need a static IP for your phone system or for surveillance. You're talking about somewhere anywhere after taxes, $200 to $250 a month. You don't want to pay that twice just to have backup that you may never use. So what our solution would be is a 4G failover for temporary internet services. Now 4G, you may recognize, is obviously a cellular failover that is used by all of the companies. We use Verizon for this service as well, so they're a partner of ours. We're affiliated with them on the failover capabilities. So if you take a look at the picture on there, let's say your cable connection is cut. Well, what we would do is have a router that's already installed at your office that can detect when you lose service, and that would automatically pop on that 4G network so that you're not losing a beat when it comes to internet services. Are you going to get as much bandwidth as you had with either your fiber or your Time Warner connections? Probably not as much, but at least it'll be enough to get you working, to keep your phones running. Maybe not, 30 phones, but certainly 6 to 7 phones while you're fixing your current internet problem, or while MVP is fixing that, being your internet service provider, or I'm sorry, being your IT provider. One example is this business case where we had to set up a bus for a client of ours, True Bethel Baptist Church. You might recognize Darius Pridgeon on there as well. And we set this bus up with 10 computers, internet access, and a server. And all that they do is drive around the city and help people fill out resumes, apply for jobs that are not fortunate enough, or maybe can't afford to have internet services and work with them on that. So this was a really, really nice case for us. Number one, it helps out the community. We wanted to make sure everybody has an opportunity to succeed and to get jobs and get qualified jobs and have internet services. So we used this solution, this 4G solution that we added to this bus for True Bethel Baptist Church that we call the Opportunity Bus. So what a cool business case. We're proud of it. And obviously we're proud of our partner for continuing to give back to the community. So that's definitely part of what MVP is about. How does it all work? You might be asking yourself, okay, well, if internet goes down, what do we have to do? And the answer to that is essentially nothing. If you have put in our internet failover in place, it all does it for you. We would put in a smart modem or a router, if you will, that would detect when carrier A goes down. Carrier B, being MVP and our partners, because of the chip that is inside of this router, would be able to notice that and have a direct failover to that 4G wireless network. So essentially, you would not be using that 4G wireless at all until you needed it. And that's why we're able to keep pricing at a very minimum on a monthly basis. And we'll talk about the pricing at the end as well for this solution. So the modem automatically detects through a SIM card. The router selects the modem and the firmware, everything that you need from a software, from a hardware perspective, and points it in the direction of actually the 4G network that would now power the internet at your office. So taking a look now, you might be thinking, who are some of the companies that are already using this? And obviously in this slide, you will see many, many companies and brands that you already know. They've been using this for quite a while. One of the beauties of this product is the fact that it did come down market to small to medium businesses like us and like yourselves to offer the same type of advanced technologies at a fraction of a cost. It's almost like the same thing with a lot of things in technology, that at first it's extremely expensive, and you only can it's tested on the larger companies, but once more and more people have it, our providers can offer that solution at discounted prices, and that's when we got involved and found this to give you internet security and failover. So take a look there. And on the next slide there, we had a couple questions that came up. What causes the most internet outages? And I think we did talk about that. There's, sometimes there's user error. There is environmental factors that will cause that most of the time as well. And also it happens quite often by the providers. So we can talk about that. What backup processes are available to get us back online as soon as possible? Well, that would be the MVP 4G internet failover. That's the backup process. So really what you would do is you would just, order your internet through Verizon or Time Warner like normal. You'd also have MVP come in, and we would provide you with a backup internet solution. Okay? That backup internet solution is a service that also requires a small router. It's a minimal cost router, maybe a couple $100, that actually does all the work for you. So you can basically set it and forget it, if you will. MVP would monitor that device just like anything else on your network as well, if we're partners. And the process that's in place to have these systems go back is already set when it's configured. So really, there's nothing to do on your end except for just have the service in place and be ready for when the internet goes down. Don't get caught if you depend on bandwidth and the internet to run your business to not have this up and running, if you will. So we do have some questions. As we said, this was a very express webinar, meaning we did want it to be short and sweet. One thing I will tell you is that you're probably wondering, great, but what is the cost of all this? Well, the router is roughly around $300 as a one-time cost on a router. And the monthly service on this is anywhere, depending on the size of your network, can be done for anywhere between $30 and say $60 a month. So $30 and $60 a month to have the peace of mind knowing that your internet will never go down. One thing is, though, that when we actually use the service, when they turn it on, that it's going to be that price, that $30 to $60 per gigabyte used. So when you're actually using the services, when you're going to have to use more, and it's going to cost more as you're using the data. Okay, and it was almost like any other data plan. So let's say that you need it once in a year for 4 hours. It will be well worth the investment to make sure that you have internet failover and dependability. So the final slide here is an offer, and we'd be happy to come in and assess your office. Take a look at what you have, what would it take to get your office, what type of router we need to come in and get you backup internet failover. We come in, obviously this is something that we would not charge you for. We just want to come in and really offer this as an added solution to MVP. We don't make a lot of money in it, but it does solve a lot of problems because your problems in the internet world become our problems, and we just want to make life easier for our clients. So Jamie Stewart, who contacted everybody and got this, quite a few people on this particular webinar, can be reached at 716-362-7592, and you'll see her email right there, jstewart@mvpworks.com. She's our marketing extraordinaire. And again, you can also contact me directly, kevin@mvpworks.com. And I'm going to open it up now. If there are any other questions, please feel free to ask them. And thank you all very much. We do appreciate it. I'm going to wait for a minute to see if there's any questions, and then we'll take it from there.
Hi, this is Carly Siders from General Physicians.
Hi, Carly.
Hi, I have one quick question about this. So I think this is great, the failover aspect of it. Is someone alerted that still alerted that the internet, the main source of internet went down? Just so, you can continue to watch, trends and see if it happens at the same time. I'd hate for us to just kind of like rest on knowing that we have it when we probably aren't solving like the main problem of why it's happening. So,
yes.
How do we get notified in the office that we're
That's a good question. So the alerts would happen the same way any other alert would happen on your system. We have our system set up as your partner, so our texts get emailed an alert that the system went offline. Okay, even though there is an immediate failover without human intervention, we still get alerted, and then we would alert you directly after we are alerted, or we can have it set up so that it's really up to you, so that you're emailed as well at the same time as us.
Great, thanks.
Yep, and then and to add to that, we would call the provider for you as well, so that you don't have to, be the one that's on the phone for 40 minutes with time on the table.
Yeah.
Because I know how everyone loves that.
Yes. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other questions? Well, I hope, for as enjoyable as these types of webinars can be, I hope you got a little bit of information out of it, and you can make a good decision with regards to your internet. Like we said, we have people ready to set this up for you and get you out of harm's way. So thank you very much again. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.